Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 12 of calisthenics endurance, and well, today's run was a little bit faster, but also more difficult than I would like to admit, 55 minutes, not fast by any mean, but I definitely had some troubles and I was breathing through my mouth instead of my nose because it was quite difficult for me. But anyway, difficult days are, beneficial as well. I think about twice a week it's gonna be good to have a bit of a harder day during this training, and it's definitely gonna pay tribute to the Shimanami Kaido, the Shimanami cycling road I'm trying to run in Japan in March. But anyway, as for the training today, in the evening now, it will also not be very easy because I'm doing a bit of a double split. First of all, I'm doing legs. I've already, done some clamshells, which is the boring exercise I told you about last time, but I'll put it somewhere on the screen. I made sure to record it, but it's gonna be a leg day focused on, I guess, the glutes mostly, because last time I discovered that my hip and like the area around my hip was a bit too weak. So now the main mission is, I guess, to become the thickest boy on the block, to get some glorious glutes and whatever you want to call it. But that's not going to happen without any training. So today, before moving on to push-ups, which I'm going to do as well, that's why it's a hard day, first legs, then push-ups, I'm going to be doing two exercises, and first one is going to be Bulgarian squats. The second one, well, you will see it when we get there. But for the Bulgarian squats, I'm starting out here with 28 kilos. I hope it's not going to feel too heavy. I'm just going to do a controlled AMRAP, which is as many reps as possible, and then see where I end up. If I get enough reps, I will up the weight to basically get some more strength, but yeah, it's going to be it's gonna be burning. Let's go. Alright, so that's it for the Bulgarian squats, and although I did not go to complete failure, that does not mean that I can't get some good gains from this, because guess what? Running is the main focus. The goal of these leg workouts are to support running, to get stronger legs for the purpose of running. So if I'm gonna completely destroy myself and smash myself to failure for multiple sets, or if I train as hard as I was doing on the bulk on these leg workouts, they would take away from my running, because I wouldn't be able to recover in time. However, it doesn't make that you can't make some good gains, because guess what? I just did the lunges, 2 sets of 8. First I did some light sets, or one light set with 28 kilos, but then I went on to 38 kilos, and I did 2 sets of 8. And if I, in a couple weeks, manage to do 3 sets of 10 with that weight, then I made progress. That will mean that I have stronger glutes, stronger quadriceps. If I, in a couple months, am doing, 3 sets of 10 with an even higher weight, let's say 42 kilos, well, it's the same story, right? So I'm still getting stronger. And although it's not the typical hypertrophy workout where, you go to failure with the sole purpose of building muscle, you're still going to build some tissue, or at least maintain it, because you are getting stronger, and that's the main focus. So yeah, that's going to be it for the Bulgarian squats. But now I'm going to be moving on to some hamstring. No, not the well, it's partly a hamstring exercise. Moving on to hip extensions. Yes, and I've done this exercise in the past, but I'm going to change up the way I do it a little bit, because before I was just, spamming a rep every 2 seconds. Now I'm going to do it just like the Bulgarian squat, where I go up and then control the way down in about 3 seconds and then go back up. And this is kind of the same philosophy, where I don't want to allow myself to cheat the movement and completely destroy my body, because I need to use my body for running. So instead, I'm gonna control the movement, and by controlling the movement, doing the slow negative, I do think it takes a little bit away from the intensity, but at the same time, you won't allow yourself to cheat very easily in the movement. So you're really targeting the muscles that you want without tiring out anything else. But that's exactly what I need at the moment, right? I don't need the top-notch intensity, but I need quite good intensity still at the right area. So that's what I'm going to do with these hip extensions. I don't know how many reps, but it's going to be 3 sets. And basically it's going to be kind of a gauge of how strong I am and where I have to hit in the future. So let's go. Alright, so that's it for the leg day. Now it's time to move on to some push-ups, and now, well, this is gonna be the part that really hurts. Now, the mission is simple, concept-wise, 10 sets of 60 push-ups, that's gonna be the goal. Every set or every 3 minutes, 1 set. So if all goes well, this takes 30 minutes, no longer, no less. But also, you have to realize, right, when you train hard, no matter what part of your body you're training, it's going to have an influence on everything else. It's going to have an impact, because you only have so much energy, right? You have all of this energy stored in your body, and when you spend the energy, your body gets tired. And so even if you for example, train your legs, if you're going to train your chest afterwards, it's going to have an effect, because you've already, you've toasted your central nervous system and stuff like that as well. So I might not want to admit it, but today is going to be a pretty tough one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat my score of last time of 8.5 sets, but at least I'm going to try, So we'll see what happens, but if I can get 10 sets today, that means we can move on to 70 reps next time, which is very exciting. So the power might not all be there, but the motivation definitely is. And well, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's go. fucking hell. Alright, so 10 sets of 60 or 0, depending on how you want to count. But in any case, it felt way better than last time, which I didn't expect after all the other action today. And only just standing like this, when I put my arms to the side, I can feel my chest just trying to stretch out but being unable to do so. But, you know, I don't know if today's form was just worse than last time or I just got stronger or both, but I do know 10 sets of 60, that's an important step, and next time I'm gonna be able to challenge 70 reps, you know, and bit by bit I'll get to 10 sets of 100, and when I get to those 10 sets of 100, I think it's gonna be a good checkpoint, I guess, to really start working on the form, just like the Japanese guy was doing, you know, he got to 10 sets of 100, and I think right now he's like still working on his form, trying to basically get more out of the same amount of reps. But yeah, chest pump guaranteed with these push-ups basically, because you're on a decline, I guess, or an incline. No, a decline. Yes, you're doing decline push-ups because your arms or your torso is lower than your legs. But what I'm also doing is kind of arching, you know, I'm retracting my shoulders. Naturally, it will make me arch. Just like you can do on a bench as well, you know, on a bench you will arch to basically set your shoulders and have more chest exposure. The same is happening right here. So yes, it's a decline, but because there's this arch, it doesn't really change the angle of the chest, although it does allow me to basically retract my shoulders and still do kind of a normal push-up. Plus also, you know, decline push-ups have more percentage of your body weight on your arm. So that's also a good point. But anyway, doing these push-ups will give you a guaranteed chest pump, one to write home about. Tomorrow I'm gonna have dinner at my parents' house, so I'll tell them about it, I guess. But anyway, that's it for today's workout, and well, very happy with how it went. Today was a tough day, but hey, once in a while, a tough day won't hurt you. In fact, it will help you to get stronger. And I guess one important thing to note there is, when you do the hard days, right, we can all do the hard days because we love training. It's also important to do the easy days. So that's something I've been struggling with over the past week or two. It's day 12, so almost 2 weeks, right? It's something I've been struggling to do, and basically I'm searching around on how, or like doing trial and error on how I can manage it. But tomorrow the goal is to do an easy day on the running, but also the training. We'll see how it happens, but basically Master Roshi says you have to work hard, study well, and eat and sleep plenty. And I guess it's not mentioned directly, but resting is important, right? He says you have to sleep, but you also just have to rest. So when you do the hard days, make sure you compensate with some easy days so that you can recover from them and go stronger. That's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. But anyway, that's it for today's workout. We have become a thick boy. Some glutes have been activated. Very important to strengthen the body when you want it to do certain tasks. Make sure there are no holes, no weak spots, because that will just lead to injury. But you know, other than that, I have nothing to say. I'm just tired as hell from all of these push-ups. 600 today. We are slowly but surely, you know, deviating away from the 500 minimum. You know, oftentimes doing more than that, but that's natural progress. I'm very happy with how that happens. And well, tomorrow I'll see you again to have more of it occur. I'll see you then.